Good morning. This is Jason Dean coming live at you again for another Film Fanatic show. Hope everyone's doing good. So, yeah, lately I've been reviewing all kinds of newer movies that I've been buying. The last few months, I have been going to the my favorite shops more often. I've been going to Goodwill, and especially I've been going more and more to Bull Moose. So I've been doing lots of shows and reviews on movies that I have, mostly on movies I have never seen before. So it's been a really amazing time for basically discovering all of these new films that I never saw. I still buy movies that obviously I've seen before and that maybe I grew up watching or I saw when I was a kid. But most of the movies I've been watching and reviewing have been movies on things it was my first time, and I've been taking chances left and right. So to change things up quite radically, I guess, for probably these next few videos, I've been having this for the last few weeks. I had this deep urge and craving to get back into watching some of the Marvel movies. I've said many times, I have not been really happy. I'm a huge comic book fan, movie, fanatic, and I grew up reading comic books. And I've said many times that ever since Endgame, there hasn't really been any great movies. I think, with the exception of the Batman with Robert Pattinson, which I think is a masterpiece, and then I think the last Spider-Man movie that had come out. Outside of that, I've been pretty disappointed, especially with Marvel. DC has gotten a little bit better. I do really love the Snyder cut of the Justice League that came out a couple of years ago. It's the long form version. It's like 4 hours. I actually really love that movie. But lately, I've been on this kick of wanting to check out some of the movies that I really love again in the superhero universe. And so lately I've been in this I've had this big craving to start watching the Captain America movies again. So that's what I'm doing. I'm doing shows on those movies that I really love. I think the Captain America movies are some of the best ones in the entire franchise as far as Marvel movies go. And I have done a few videos on these before, but you know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna do more. I have done quite a few videos in the past where I have done multiple reviews or talks about a particular movie. So this kind of just stays in line with that. And the interesting thing is that movies really, in a lot of ways, when you revisit a movie, sometimes it doesn't it doesn't age well, or it doesn't really. It might mean something different to you later in life. Years go by or whatnot. Movies have that deep impact. Some movies, obviously, you watch a movie after initially liking it, and you revisit it, and then you're in this place of like, what was I thinking? This movie is kind of awful. And then the opposite sometimes happens. But then there are also movies that, as you hopefully grow as a person and develop, those movies also act as almost the same kind of thing for you personally, or for me personally, where certain movies I get something out of, or some movies age really, really well. So today's show is going to be on the first Captain America movie, and that is this. I basically, well, more or less completed all of my favorite movies in the superhero world. I haven't bought any in a while. The last one I bought was Black Panther, which I really, really love. I've done a show on that one. But for the most part, I've completed most of the Marvel movies that I've been wanting to get through going to Goodwill in Rockland. They have a lot of newer Blu-rays, more big budget Hollywood movies. And today's show is on Captain America: The First Avenger. I have an interesting history with this movie. I probably have talked about it before, but I did not really like this movie when it first came out. I thought it was good. I thought it was solid. I like Chris Evans. It was the first time I had come across Chris Evans as a director. This movie was directed by John Johnston, and it came out in 2011 already. And this was like the first of. It was announced that they were going to make a big budget Captain America movie that was going to be about 3 or 4 movies. And Captain America, of course, is a huge plays a huge role, a major role in the universe itself. So I was really intrigued. When I first saw this movie, I thought it was okay. I thought it was good. I thought it was solid. It was a little bit different than what I expected. And I have seen this movie quite a few times since then. I bought this Blu-ray edition probably about 2 or 3 years ago. I own all of the Captain America movies now on Blu-ray. And I really, thought it was good, but I, I don't know, it was kind of a mixed bag for me. But since then, I remember seeing this in the theater. I remember going to see it I remember going to see it totally on a whim on a matinee. I happened to be in the area I saw it at Flagship Cinema when it first came out. I happened to be down in the area, and it was a totally unplanned thing. I saw it by myself. I had gone to it after being at this music festival. I was in a band at the time. We had played at this music festival, and we were up there for a few days. And I had not really slept very well, but yet I knew Captain America was coming out, and I was literally driving in right past the movie theater. And I remember it was early in the day, and I was like, you know what, screw it, I'm gonna just go see it. So I just drove and I went to go see it. So it had probably something to do with that. I was not, really with it. I was not really rested in any way, shape, or form. So I was kind of disappointed. But since then, I've seen this movie quite a few times after, and I watched this again last night, and I actually really love this movie. I think it's really great. It's probably, well, it's not the best in the entire trilogy, but I think this is a really great like kind of introduction to who Captain America is, and it's pretty true to the comics. I think it's really really true to the comics. I It's a really great kind of origin story, and Chris Evans is a really great actor. I've been following ever since this movie. I have become a big Chris Evans fan. I think he is an actor that is truly talented, really multi-dimensional. He can do anything, and he has done all kinds of fantastic movies in the last few years. So I've always felt after I saw Captain America, the first Avenger, that he is somebody to watch. And so like I said in the beginning of the show, I've been craving to watch the Captain America movies again. So I started watching. Tonight I'm going to be watching the second one, Winter Soldier, and I'll be doing a show on that. And I love this movie. I think they're great. They're super entertaining. When I was a kid, Captain America was always one of my favorite superheroes. It's his whole aesthetic, and I love that he is, this super soldier. I love the way they incorporate kind of martial arts in the film. I love the action sequences. I love that he is kind of this innocent, you know, uh, but sincere and very realistic personality. And he is, kind of this stranger from a strange land, put in this modern context. So he doesn't really understand how the modern world works, and he's from a different era when men were very different and society was very different. And I love that they kind of feel they really capture that feel extremely well. And it's a super entertaining movie. Great action. I love the kind of introduction to it. Probably my favorite movie in the Captain America franchise, I probably have to say, is Civil War. As is well, Civil War is really great, which is the third one. Winter Soldier is probably the most badass though, but I'm really looking forward to watching it. But this is an awesome movie, and again, it's one of those funny, weird things where initially I thought this was okay, but I was disappointed with it. It went and did. I pictured it to be something different, but as a kid, Captain America was one of my favorite comic book characters. I was a huge fan, and still am, but of the X Men, the Batman being my favorite comic book character of all time. I really loved Daredevil. Also, Power Man and Iron Fist were great characters that I loved. Other more, Iron Man was another one. Lesser known characters, I would say, would be Firestorm, really fantastic comic book character. So, the Punisher was another one. You know, so many great characters that I loved as a kid. So many great comic books. I actually recently bought some comic books, and I haven't bought comic books in a long, long time. But I'm kind of fatigued as far as newer films, but I love the old shit. And this is, well, not really old, but this is a great movie, and it's gotten better with age and time, and it's super entertaining. I highly recommend it. Most people have probably seen these movies by now, but one of the better Marvel movies, or at least one of the best beginnings to a really great trilogy of movies. That I do believe that the cap with these Captain America movies, this one being the first Avenger, the second one being the Winter Soldier, and then the third one being Civil War. I do believe that this trilogy is unique because each movie does get better and improves on itself. But this is a great like introduction to the Captain America universe. So thanks again, and we will see you next time. Peace.